Live.
Hello, everybody. We're waiting on a couple of people to come in.
Yo.
Can you see? Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome to Small Talk with Shanay. Today is Monday, April the 12th. It is 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, and we are on episode 4. On today's episode, we have the incredible, the immaculate Lloyd Buchanan.
Yo. What's up? How's everybody doing?
Yes.
Good.
As we all know, Small Talk with Shanay is in conjunction with MEC. MEC is what we know as the Music and Entertainment Council, in which I am a founding member, and Lloyd is also a member of this council. So a little bit about MEC. MEC is a council that helps to build the bridge between artists and the city and everything that we need in order to provide our artists with all the resources that they need to succeed. So what this means is we want to keep our artists actually in Columbus. So a lot of the artists actually leave Columbus because we don't have the necessary resources for them to actually succeed in the business. This means studio time. This means actual showcases. This means actual venues for them to broadcast their talents. Things such as canvas artists, we don't necessarily have the venues and spaces for them to actually present their artwork. This means musicians, we don't necessarily have the things that we need to sustain them and their instrumentation. So what we're trying to do is build the bridge so that people don't have to go to these major cities to get corporate deals, to get publicity, to get exposure. They can stay in Columbus and actually bring other artists and inspire other young artists to stay and just build a music community. So today we will be talking to Lloyd Buchanan.
Yes.
He's going to tell us a little bit about himself, just giving him a brief introduction. As you have heard before in my previous interviews, Lloyd had a lot to do with my journey in the music industry and actually encouraging me to actually do this for a living. Because before this point, I was in the medical field, but I was singing behind Lloyd at places like The Loft, at places like St. John AME Church.
St. John AME. Oh, yeah. Shout it out.
Other places that we went, like LaGrange, which is where Lloyd grew up. And we also went to other little small churches here and there, just trucking in his truck at the time.
Literally. Literally.
Yes, we were literally trucking to these little churches. But Lloyd actually regrew my interest and love of music, and he just took me along as we started this touring journey. So I'm going to give you the floor to tell the people and tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, what shaped your view and love of music, and then we'll go from there. So the floor is yours.
Wow, thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. I should hire you to do that more often, right? $20 in your Cash App. No.
Thank you.
Come through for me. Literally, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for you giving me the opportunity to share just a little bit about my journey and to just kind of discuss things. I actually grew up in a little town named Manchester. And so Manchester is about 45 minutes away from Columbus. And so I grew up coming to Columbus because for us, coming to Columbus was like going to the big city. We were coming to the Columbus Mall. That's when Peachtree Mall was actually happening, Connect Dairy, doing field trips at Connect Dairy, you know what I mean? So it was a big deal for us to come to Columbus. So Columbus has always had and it played an intricate part in my life. It became the place where we came to have fun, like Gophers Fun Park, all that stuff was happening here then.
Right.
I come from a musical family, actually. So my mom and all of her siblings, and my grandmother and my grandfather are all singers or musicians, and my cousins are the same. And so we kind of grew up in this small town, all of us kind of singing together. My first experience of even playing piano was playing for my mom. And so we had this old upright piano in our house that was given to us from our church, because our church is kind of moving away from the traditional, upright piano in the church and moving to the clavinova when that was a whole popular thing. And so our family ended up with that upright piano, and it sat in our living room, and I would go in and I would play around with it. And my very first time really I can remember playing out was my mom had to sing for a funeral, and the musician, who was a local musician at the time, said that he would play for her for $50. And my mom was like, "Hey, I'm just here to sing one song, and you already here, you already playing, And so my mom turned around and asked me what key did I know how to play in. I said C and G, and she kind of adapted her singing to kind of to allow me to play for her the best way I could. And so I grew up doing that. I also grew up in Manchester, 2 houses up from my childhood friend, who I have to this day is one of my best friends, Alonzo Harris and his brother Swag, and all the Harris brothers. And so these guys are amazing musicians, and they've always been that way. And so funny story is that when we were growing up, that because the houses had musicians in them, our parents would literally kind of allow for us to take turns at whose house we're going to hold the next concert at. You know what I mean? So one day we're up at the Harris's house, we're down at the Harris house having church in the backyard, and I'm sitting there playing, and Alonzo's playing, and then the next week you may find them up at our house on our back porch on our deck, and we're just having a good time. And so music started off real fun. It started off with something I got to do with my friends. And so Alonzo and all of his brothers are older than I am. So they started this band called the A Boys and Girls. And we traveled anywhere from Florida to Canada, all by caravan in a car driving. And so it was crazy that we grew up going to all these little churches.
Not caravan.
Playing. Oh, listen, there could be 12, 15 cars in a line going to Florida for one program. But we will all go, we'll all have a great time. And I grew up in that environment, really just listening and playing music with both my family and my friends. And so I was surrounded by it. I left and I started school at LaGrange College. And the Harris brothers, my mom, and quite a few people from my town had gone to LaGrange College. So I was already connected with professors like Professor Lee Johnson, Professor Dr. Tony Anderson. And so I continued on to LaGrange College. And that was in 2002. And so I really enjoyed that transition. So LaGrange really became home for me from that time till making the decision to move to Columbus. And so that journey of Manchester, LaGrange, and then Columbus, I've kind of stayed local to, within this whole 45-mile radius. But it really gave me the opportunity to enjoy music first with my mom and with those guys, to learn music and to really kind of grow as a person. Because I got to say, LaGrange was that opportunity, was me growing as a person. Right. Getting to serve with Darlene Shaw and Ricky Bolden, and study with Randy Hexter and Trey Wright and Mark Miller. It was a time for me to grow up and not be this immature, dumb musician. And then come to Columbus was this opportunity for me to begin to shine and to begin to be a contributor. So it's a wonderful journey. So I don't want to take up too much time because I could tell stories
No,
and
take up as
stories
much
about
time as
each
you
one
want.
of them.
This is the introduction for get to know you and who you
Well,
are.
cool.
Who
Well, one of the key things that I kind of learned and took from each one of those experiences, one, definitely uh, my approach to music and my approach to relationships happened, because of LaGrange College. I got to say, um, I would never forget. Funny story because I grew up playing by ear. I knew how to listen to something, go to church. I could listen to something on the way to church. By the time I get to church, could play it without not even really taking much time because that was the experience. So the other thing was it could be. One week you come into church and somebody say, I made a vow to the Lord and I won't take it back. The very next week they can sing the same song and they go, I made a vow to the Lord and change keys. And you're like, oh, wait. I have to learn how to play these in all 12.
right.
You never know what's going to happen today. And so that was a good journey. But I didn't understand the theory of music. I just knew how to play it. So LaGrange was this experience where I had this professor named Randy Hexter, and Randy would allow me to play what I did for church and kind of ask him these questions and trying to learn the theory, kind of the reverse, knowing how to play, but now needing to know what it was I was playing. And so that whole experience at LaGrange was this turnaround of learning and growing. But even this whole connectional piece of LaGrange College became a hub of good musicians that were trying to be great. And so we had to learn how to work and connect together because where Ian Alonso is an amazing arranger. Chris OMB was an amazing composer, and so they would work together, you know what I mean? And so it's this idea, or a Clay Butler, these guys are all kind of, and Marvin Burton, all these guys just kind of collaborating. So this idea of collaboration, I come to Columbus right out of that kind of mode of that everything in music can be better if I just simply collaborate with people who are better than me in this.
Right.
And so we came out of college networking with each other, networking with each other's friends, and then also then come to Columbus and finding a whole set of new friends. The first person I had my eyes actually. We tell a bunch of stories, so I don't know if I've told you this one, but I was at college playing bass at the time. Most people in college knew me to play piano, but because there were other pianists around, not many bass players, I was able to shine as a bass player. Right. And so most people in Columbus go like, "Oh man, you play bass?" Like, yeah, I do.
Yes,
I do. But I was playing bass and kind of to start touring and gigging out. Had the opportunity to start gigging with Olita Adams, and got an opportunity to start sitting in with a lot of different people from different gigs. And so as a bass player, I was really, really having a great time. I heard this one bass player. I came to Columbus and I heard this one bass player who was here, he's still here. His name is Charlie Bynum. And so Charlie Bynum, connecting with Charlie Bynum is how I actually came to Columbus. I loved his playing as a bass player. He had this band called Deeper Shades of Soul, and I'm like, well, I could play keys, And so I started playing keys and meeting. That's why I met Eric Rose. That's where I met Jeremy Stewart. That's where I met Jeremiah Duhart, all because of that experience. And so where my eyes were like trying to go to Atlanta to play with my buddy Trey and all that, I kind of went like, man, Columbus is kind of this cool place, and it kind of took me back to childhood. And this is kind of a big city too, considering where I'm coming from.
Right.
And so getting to come here and start to play with those guys, getting connected at St. John. St. John, I could really talk a lot about St. John, but St. John was also that other place for me of growing and learning. but getting to play with some really fabulous musicians, getting to meet you, Karita, Maya, Rhonda, Juanita, Prudence. Yeah, I can keep going. Shayla. It was like, this is a great opportunity for all of us because, and I shared this story with another friend of mine, is that St. John was that place where people wanted to do their best. They want to bring their best. The music department was all about, hey man, let's push it. Let's push it. We might not even have all the resources, but we're gonna push it till we can't push it anymore. And so it was fun. And so it is from St. John that I begin to blossom even more and become to connect with even more people in Columbus. And so that's kind of been my journey to Columbus. And yeah, I don't know how much more you want me to share, but
So I want you to elaborate on how you actually got into touring, starting with your studio work with the Heavy, and then
okay.
how we got to the situation with Brittany. Just give them a little bit of that, and then
Okay.
we'll go from
Okay.
there.
Okay. So one of the things I had been doing is funny. Alonzo's brother, Alex Harris, when I was in Manchester, we were 13, 14. We were calling people in Nashville, in the Christian contemporary world, and they swore we would talk like, hey man, this is Lloyd Buchanan. I'm calling on behalf of LJ's production. And you know what I mean? I'm putting on, this is 13 and 14. We're doing this. But we were able to start making connection with people like Out of Eden and all that type of stuff. I started touring professionally with the A-Boys. They had become A7 at the time. I was playing bass. And so we were on BET. We're on different broadcast networks and just playing music together. So I was able to kind of learn, grow, and groom with them and start playing with quite a few people. I started shedding in Atlanta with a lot of different musicians at like Apache Cafe and Sambuca. And so it really just sitting in those and kind of, trying to network there. And that's where I first was heard by a drummer that was like, hey, I really like you. He's young. He's open. He has these gospel chops, but he also has these jazz runs because at the time I was really immersing myself in jazz at LaGrange College with Randy and Trey. And so that was good. And so it was from that first call of, hey man, would you be willing to come sit in and fill in for a gig? And I started filling in for that gig, and it turned into, hey man, can you do the next 5 months with us with these dates? And so that was my first experience of really starting to get out touring. And I came back to finish college, of course, and then the Heavy, I'd made a relationship in Columbus with a guy named Sam Phillips. Now, Sam Phillips is another bass player in Columbus who's amazing. But Sam was a bus. He did tour bus driving, and he also did tour managing and sound front of house for different bands.
Right.
Sam was very familiar with my sound and what I brought to the table. And this weird band out of England comes over. They're like, hey man, they're talking to Sam about this new record they're trying to do. And this is 2010, I think. And so they're talking about, man, we got this new sound. We wanted to go for this. We're going to go for this. And Sam is like, you need to go to Columbus then. And there's a guy I need you to connect with. And so Sam brought the guys, they had mapped it so they come through Columbus in between stops on tour stops. And Sam is like, hey, Lord, I need you. I need Marshall. I need you guys in the studio working, because when we get there, I want these guys to come in and understand that Columbus is the place to do this kind of work. And so we started. We were in the studio at the Loft Studios upstairs, jamming, recording, having a great time. And then walks these players. One of the trumpet players is now playing with the roots and everything. But he walks into the room and he pulls out his trumpet, and we are completely going. I'm on the Hammond, and we're going for it. Kelvin Swaby walks in like, yo, this guy, this sound is what we're needing for the new record. And so that began a lifelong friendship between Kelvin and the other band members and myself. And so when they got ready to start doing the house that Dirt built, which is that record where What Makes a Good Man is on, they pick up everything, come to Columbus, talk to Buddy Nims. We get the space at the Loft Studio to start working. And I called my cousin Chris, like, hey, Chris, and these guys are in to record, but, I need some singers. I got arrangements, but I need some singers. Chris Wallace,
yes.
Christopher Cardell Wallace.
Oh,
and CC. No. We call him CC back in West Point. But I called him, and literally he picked up the phone. I don't mean to. I hope he don't have any warrants, because I don't want to put him.
Hey, it's over if he does. Okay,
it's over. Christopher Cardell Wallace, CC. So I called Chris, and Chris is really connected in Columbus as far as the gospel music and choir go. And so, man, Chris, in a flash, had about 3 or 4 good singers there. One was Shanika. He had some really good singers. And I reached back to St. John, and I reach out to Maya Washington. And so Maya came down, and we are having a ball. Chris is singing so loud, I'm having to shove him to the corner of the room just so he doesn't peek out the system. But we were having a blast. So that started that whole thing. It all started because they decided to have a conversation with a friend of mine who just so happened to be driving the bus, right. And that connection. And so, like I said, everything is about relationships and connections, and I'm thankful for relationships and connections. So,
and what makes a good man is actually still playing. Like there's a commercial right now that is on that I just saw randomly. Like
it is still. That thing has been on Kia. It has been for the NFL draft. Right. It has been on everything, and I'm thankful that Kelvin allowed me to do the arrangements and do the vocal parts, and really, I'm thankful for Christopher Wallace and everybody that he brought, including Philippe, who brought sweet potato pies and got the boys completely. Philippe brought sweet potato pies. And the guys from England had never had sweet potato pie. It was homemade. Okay. It wasn't no patty pie. It wasn't patty. No. It wasn't the patty pies in the Walmart special. Philippe had made some sweet potato pies, and he brought them to the studio. And you can imagine, guys who had never had sweet potato pie from the South lost their mind. We had made friends for life just from sweet potato pie. Over sweet potato pies. But these guys, go for it.
Being in those types of situations and being in studio situations isn't an easy task. So in those types of surroundings, you never really know like what a record is going to do or what a song is going to do. So you had no earthly idea that song would be as big as it is. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people don't know that in your relationship with the Heavy, it kind of played a role in us getting the role with the Shakes. And being with them, we've had plenty of experiences where we've heard songs that we're actually on just randomly, and we kind of looked up like, oh, wait, know that. You know what I mean? So in that, I kind of want to stay there for a second, because a lot of people aspire to do studio work, and you brought up a really good point when you said that relationships like when you keep relationships, it keeps you being called, to be honest. It keeps you booked. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that, because
let's stay right there
about how important it is to keep these relationships and to build these friendships, because even with our relationship, it played a part, because when they asked for a certain thing, you're like, oh, I have somebody.
Right,
So I
right.
want you to kind of talk about that, because also on the road, we also come across egos, and we come across certain situations
Oh
where
my
people
gosh.
feel like they are better than, and
Yeah,
we've seen people
yeah.
get fired because of this.
Because
And
of
so
it.
I
Yeah,
want you to
yeah.
talk about the saying that we have where talent gets you the gig, but character keeps the gig.
Character keeps the gig. It keeps it. Um, One of the things, and I think the danger is that a lot of artists, and I was guilty myself,
Mm-hmm.
always think about the next opportunity is the opportunity.
Right.
And so they always have that idea as a musician, if I can just get to this church, or if I can play with this artist, if I can be in front of this record label executive. And in the process, what we do is that we neglect the current relationships,
Right.
not realizing that a lot of those current relationships or the work ethic that people are looking for, or they're kind of sifted through where we are currently.
Right.
So um, Sam knew me to be very effective. And Sam knew me to show up and do what I was going to do. He knew that I was going to bring my best to the table. He knew that I wasn't going to half do the work. He knew
Right.
that I wasn't just money hungry, that if they don't pay this, I can't come. Uh, but Sam and he knew this not because of the big projects I was working on, but it was the small projects like the Luthier's Gift, where I was playing with Nadine, or when I would show up to the loft, even wearing AT&T, my AT&T shirt, because I was working at AT&T at the time, just to play for Peggy and to be on time and
Mm-hmm.
to deliver my best to the loft crowd
Right.
for $100 a night. Even
Right.
though I wasn't a headliner, even though I wasn't being paid a lot, it was having that grind and that work ethic that every time Steve would call me to the studio, say, "Hey man, I got this person. They don't have a big budget, but I'm there. Let's get it done." And so a lot of times we would go to the point of in the studio, um, they will have what they want, but I'm not satisfied. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, there's something better than this, or hey, roll another track. Let me put something with that. Hey, roll it. Let me arrange this in such a way. And so I've developed the reputation as being a person who looked at the big picture, not just a person who's just looking at my part. I'm done. I'm going home. But
Right.
rather, how can I contribute to a big picture? You know what I mean?
Oh
There
yes.
ain't no drama with me. Hey, we gonna laugh. We gonna have a good time. But I'm
Right.
gonna shut up so we can work and
Right.
get that done. If I could be of help to you, if I can connect you with something else that you need that I have access to, you got it. So this whole idea of relationship and relationship building is important on every level,
Right.
because we don't know who knows who. And it's
Right.
not just I'm gonna be good to this person because they can connect me with P Diddy, but I'm gonna be effective at my job, even if it's going to Revelation. So right now, I currently serve as a music director for Revelation Baptist Church, where I am right now. Beautiful stained
Woo!
glass windows behind me, yeah. And
Revelation.
so, but every time that I sit down, I want to bring my best.
Right.
Even if it's just, oh man, it's just another church. No, let's do our best, because at every level, doing my best it always exposed me to other people on other levels
Right.
above. And it was every step. And so that experience with the heavy happened because I had I had Kelvin had everything that he had wanted for the record when we sang it the first time, because that's all he could see. I looked at Chris, I looked at Steve, and I looked at the band. I was like, "Hey, let's do a couple of more things, run a couple of more tracks." And I turned around to Maya and Shaniqua, and we're working out parts. Like, let's go back for another take. And Kelvin was like, "Whoa, that's starting to sound that's sounding good." And so,
Yeah.
man, well, let's do a little bit more. Let's get you what you want. And like I told one of my students, I said, "Man, I understand time is money, so I'm gonna be very effective with your time, giving you the best I can." And
Right.
so I prepare coming in, knowing the material, but also knowing where the material can go. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And so
And
that was
sharing
the
more of your talents to everybody. Oh, we have
Yeah.
Christopher Wallace in the building.
Christopher
Hello,
Wallace.
Christopher Wallace.
Man, CC is in, boy.
We even
And
had
so
a
we,
comment. Kanar asked, I wonder how many instruments can Lloyd play?
you know what, man? I started out playing drums. I gotta be honest to say I'm not the best drummer, but I can keep time.
Okay.
Bass and piano are kind of
I can
where.
attest to you not being the best drummer, but you are. But you are a great bass player, and you can play that
Yeah.
organ, and you can play the keys,
So,
and you can sing
so,
it out.
that's what. I would say I have three instruments. I have bass, piano, or slash organ, and voice. You know, that's where it stops. I said at one point I want to play saxophone or something, or some kind of horn instrument, but no, I let Mike them have that.
You're right.
Mike Jarrell have that. I'm good. I'm
I want
good.
to talk more about what you said about letting your talents kind of speak for you, because
Yeah.
I want to tell people that when we started off with the Shakes, we all were BGVs.
Oh yeah.
And,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
all the instrument places were already filled.
Right. Right.
Lloyd went back home. You started MDing again. And I went
Yeah.
on another tour. And when we
Yeah.
came back with Brittany, Lloyd actually ended up playing organ and singing.
Yeah.
He got
Okay.
put in a whole different position. The reason
I got
why
elevated. Oh.
the reason why though was because during sound check we have a thing where all the musicians who can actually play different instruments will get on each other's instrument.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they will all
Yeah.
like just play. Where
Yeah.
Brittany, who is the lady we sing for, she would get on drums,
Yeah.
and Zach, who is our bassist, might like get behind the keys, and then somebody else to get a guitar, and they'll just start, playing.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
might not be the best at the instrument, but it's about just having fun and doing sound check, right? And they've actually come up with some hot songs.
Yes. Yes, we did.
Yes, we have come up with many recordings, but we won't talk about it. But in that, Lloyd got behind the organ, and they heard Lloyd play the organ, which they had already known that Lloyd could play, but they didn't really know how well until we would do these things, and we would have rehearsals, because rehearsals, for those who don't know, when you go on a tour, your rehearsal can last anywhere from 2 weeks to
and they be all day.
Right.
All
right. From 11 to 11. Like, and that's you're right.
Day.
We would be there from 11 a.m. to sometimes midnight.
Yeah.
Running songs and making sure everything was okay. Which when it's something you love, it really doesn't seem like it's that long. But when you get to your bed, you definitely know that you've been there all day.
You've been there all day. Yeah.
But during these times, during downtime, people would get on other instruments, and they would just, because I would even try things and get up very quickly. But because that is not my ministry. Amen.
This is not my ministry. No.
But in this time, they figured out how well Lloyd played the organ. And if you didn't get a chance to catch the Grammys, please look at that, because they did Never Walk Alone, and Lloyd played the screeched on that there organ during that time, and you can get a little snippet of what that's like. But while we were doing that, they saw how talented he was at that. And we had an organ player, shout out Ben Tanner.
Ben Tanner.
Ben Tanner is great.
Not
taking anything from
amazing.
him. But,
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, Lloyd, that down home is just something about it. When you
it'll do something to you. It'll do something to you. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what. Alonzo texted me, said that Manchester came out in yesterday. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. That down home country.
Hey,
no.
How many times have I caught the spirit on stage? Amen.
So
Lloyd, not only, I'm about to call you out. Not only has Lloyd had the opportunity to play organ, that's his normal gig, and he plays organ and he sings while we're on stage. Dancing is not Lloyd's ministry, so he's happy that he is behind the organ.
No, I'm very happy that I can be behind the organ, because I cannot dance at all.
Not your ministry, but
we don't claim that. I tried to hang in with y'all as long as I could, but I just could not do it.
There is no rhythm in these hips. It just doesn't exist.
Hello.
It just doesn't
Amen.
exist. In the
Amen. You
shoulders
know, God gives
either.
us talents. God gives
But
us
he left that one out. He left that one out.
so
So
but in us doing these things, Lloyd also has played bass behind
yeah,
everything in a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
different situations because they've learned that you've played these different things. And I say that because people that might be watching or listening, don't just get
Okay.
comfortable in the position that you're hired for.
Right,
And
right,
like expand and show people that you can do more because you never know. They might be looking to fill those positions and you can
right.
fill them. And you
You
can
can
be
do it.
more than what you're just doing in this moment, you
Yeah,
know. And I'm
yeah.
gonna go a little further from here because I want to ask you a question about.
Okay,
I'm about to get a little deep, you know.
okay.
With us traveling the world like we do, we've had a lot of situations
Hmm.
where we've had to where our situations haven't necessarily been the most comfortable situations for
Okay,
us. And in the
right.
situations that we've been in and like the stages that we've been on, you know. But at the end, we tend to win people over. And
Right.
we see like even people that might not be familiar with Brittany as an artist, so we're coming in
Hmm.
like brand new and they don't even know what we're about to do. You know what I'm saying? What would
Hmm.
you tell an upcoming artist about this type of situation? Because I feel like it's important for people to be very confident in what they bring to the table. And that's one thing that I think that you really are. Like you're
Okay.
confident about what you can do and what you bring to the table. So what
Yeah.
would you say to an up and coming artist about getting those nerves out? Like what do you do to get those nerves out to play your best and to do your best in the situation?
Um, it's kind of a tricky one. I would say it's a three-headed monster for me. One is going into an unfamiliar place pushes me to make sure that I am confident in what I know. And so if I came to sing this song, me and this song are one. And so if I came to do new music, old school, it doesn't matter. Uh, I know what I'm about to do. I know what's inside, and I know what I came to bring. And so I step out with this level of confidence, um, knowing that if my mom used to have this statement, my mom used to tell us to play in our own yard and that we couldn't leave out of our yard and we would look over and see our neighbors, Alonzo and the Deloches, all those guys playing in their yard. And we used to come back so defeated because we couldn't join them. And my mom came to this realization, well, the reason why you want to join them is because it looks like they are having fun. And
Right.
so when it looks like you are having fun, people want to join you. And so when I take the stage, it becomes this whole idea of I'm going to have fun tonight because I want them to join me. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's one. The second thing for me is to meet them where they are. There's a lot of times people come to a concert because they want to let their hair down. They've had a stressful week, and remember, they paid money to come see you. And
Right.
so for them, it's every song that I have in my set list for me. No, sometimes I'll look at my band members and I go like, "Hey man, we about to take a hard left because this is an old school train right here, and I need for them to come to us, and so I
Right.
need to meet them to bring them back to our world." And so being prepared helps. Meeting people where they are helps, but also surrounding yourself with people that you can just simply be comfortable with on stage.
Right.
Like it's kind of crazy. Like so when Brittany called and when their management called me and asked for people to come do background vocals, I mean there's a whole list of people that I can go out and I could sing with and I could have called. But no. I want to be comfortable with someone that I know who knows my ability, who I know their ability, and we can work together. And we're not just starting at square one about the music, but we're starting from a relationship place. And so even at home when I play with my band Cube Roots, playing with David and playing with Sean and playing with Eric and playing with Nick or Fred is because I don't want to face a crowd with an unfamiliar band. I
Right.
know what we can do, and we work on our relationship. You know, that's one of the reasons why a lot of us who play in church together, who play in bands outside, you find us playing a whole lot more together because we've grown comfortable. But we can't skip the process of doing the work of being knowledgeable and knowing when we walk on the stage what's about to happen. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I
I
don't
want
need
to
to be going,
piggyback on
hold on,
that.
let me figure this out.
What's the difference that you've seen with being the leader of your own band and taking leadership from somebody else's band?
It gives me a great appreciation, and it kind of, let me put it this way, it kind of helps me from being my own band leader know how to follow this other person. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so, because a lot of times I'm like, David, go to here, go to there. And David's like, okay, okay. He doesn't know what's about to happen, but he follows in such a way because he trusts that leadership that I'm giving him, that Lord's going, we're going somewhere now. And
Right.
so when it comes to Brittany going like, well, let's try this, or Kelvin saying, let's try this, or Lita saying, I don't want to do this tonight, scratch that hole, it becomes, okay, you don't have any fight from me because I want to see how can I contribute to this vision that you're trying to get after.
Right.
So how much are you looking for my input? Are you looking for me to just follow? Just having that conversation, you know? But it's given me a great appreciation for the person who's out front, because it's one thing to be behind people just go like, oh, I'm playing my organ, I'm doing it. It's another thing to get to be the leader and you feel the weight of the show on you.
Right.
So
for the people that have never heard you sing,
uh-huh.
How would you describe your sound?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of a mix. I grew up listening. Okay, short story. I promise it's gonna be short, Shanay. I promise it's gonna be short. But I grew up when I grew up in Manchester, we weren't allowed to listen to secular music.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything like, I didn't get introduced to Johnny Taylor, the Isley Brothers, Prince. I didn't get introduced to any of this. I missed the whole 90s R&B that everybody was going crazy over, Babyface and all those guys. I didn't know what was happening. Only thing I knew was about people like Bob Carlyle and Brian Duncan and Donnie McClurkin and John P. Key, those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of caught between this world of, but when I turned 18, I moved out from the house and I discovered who Johnny Taylor was and Bobby Blue Bland. It changed my life forever. It changed my life. Man, I had never heard Seal Johnson, but he said it's because I'm black. I didn't know what that song would mean to me, but it spoke to my heart. And so I started listening to this classic soul. And, for a lot of people, I never made it to the 90s. I didn't, because I'm still stuck in this whole classic soul era. So it's kind of this toss between this quartet music, vocal wise, that I heard my grandfather and all them singing growing up, and that music, and this classic soul, with a little bit of R&B type sound, but it's a mix of my life journey, honestly.
That's a great way to describe that, a mix of my life journey. That's wonderful. That should be the name of your first album.
You so dumb. You so dumb. You so.
That will right. You hear me? That will right. Yeah. All right. I just want to encourage that and just pin that in, audience. You heard it here first.
Are you speaking into that?
So he can give me mine, but so for those of you who are not familiar, Lloyd is also a father. He has beautiful children who are also brilliant and they're adorable. And they are also musically inclined as well. He's probably gonna have a family band one day. Who knows?
One day I will have a family band. I will.
Yeah, you will. He will. We gonna claim that. But
and so
would you give a touring father? Like, what's the best advice that you would give?
One of the best advice I could give is I think, and I'm learning this, and let me put that there. I'm learning this. I'm learning to be intentional. I'm learning to be intentional. Touring demands so much of your time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And because it demands so much of your time, when you come home, it is tiring. It is, you just want to not go anywhere. You want to not do anything.
Right.
And so, but you have these eyes that are waiting for you to do something. You know what I mean? Like, where you been? Let's
Right.
go. And so I'm learning to be intentional.
Right.
And say, let's make time for this. Let's actually make time for fishing. Or even when we were rehearsing in Nashville, let's intentionally book a flight for my son to come and spend time. And he was introduced to all of you guys and Robert Glasper, and studio life was like, oh my gosh, this is what you really do. But just being intentional about your time, because, and like I said, I'm learning that. I can't say that I have learned it. I say that I'm learning it. So that your kids or your kid is feel like they have your attention too.
Right.
It has to mean more than just, well, I made the money so we can do this, or so I can buy you this.
Right.
But one thing that I'm learning, especially in this time of life, is that it's my time with them. Tim had to be important. You know what I mean? So
yes, learn to be intentional fathers.
Yeah.
So since we know that MEC is based in the Chattahoochee Valley areas,
okay.
What do you think that this area, we're gonna stick mainly to Columbus, but it'll be for the broader area. But since we both got our start mainly in Columbus,
okay.
What do you think that they could do, the area could do, to better support artists and better support upcoming artists and creatives?
How much time do we have? Because this is going to be a while.
You got about a good
a lot of good ones. So let me go. 3 minutes. All right. So I guess I got to put it like this. Mike Jarrell hit on something your last podcast, and I thought it was great. He hit it. And he was saying that one of the deals is that we have to learn to start valuing the entertainment. And so in order for the artist to really, really pursue music, we have to be in a way compensated, right? And so like I think this is another one of those three-headed monsters, is that as an artist, I go home and I spend my time and I spend my energy rehearsing, writing, arranging, coming up with, practicing, and all this type of stuff, to come out for somebody to ask me to do something for exposure. I can go to the Grammys and play and make the money and be exposed to the world, only to come home to be asked. And when you tell somebody, your price for a wedding, I'm like, but you asked me here because you seen that I'm that good. Right. And so one of the ways that we can really support artists is by valuing them with our resources. That's money. That is with other goods and services that we can provide. So don't expect everything to be done for free. That's one thing. The second thing is the one avenue where we all meet together. One thing where avenues that we all meet together is that we meet at this place called the venue. So whether or not that venue is the church, whether or not that venue is the loft, whether or not that venue is the studio, that venue is the meeting place, right? Mm-hmm. And so the less venues you have that are providing these opportunities for meetings, the less opportunities you give artists the chance to exchange for the resources. So we've been hit right now. The loft is closed. The loft upstairs is not doing live music at the moment. It's been one of the main meeting places of artists in Columbus, right? It's not because of anything crazy that Buddy did. It's actually because of COVID, guys,
Right.
But that's only one room. If you would have asked me how many rooms in Columbus you can go to and perform, and the artist has a good experience, Those are very few.
Right. That's
Those
true.
are very few.
That's a very true statement.
Because the second thing that we have to do, the first thing is the persons, the patrons have to support. The
Right.
second thing is that we have to have the quality venues. And that quality venue has to be more than just a restaurant who has music as your background
Yes.
and we'll give you $100 a man. We
Yes.
have to start thinking of how can we revitalize venues that really allow for the artists to be the artists and really support their craft and really showcase their craft, right? Right. And so places like the Liberty need to exist.
Right.
Places like the Springer need to exist for
Right.
more than just special productions, and that's for the Springer too. I mean, the Liberty too. But also smaller places that are more intimate need to exist for these up and coming artists to really shine and showcase. So if it's the meeting place, and forgive me if it seems complicated, if I'm making it more complicated, if it's the meeting place between the artist and the public, then it has to be a good experience for the artist and the public. So
Right.
I can't invite 100 people to see me sing and pack out a restaurant that has bad food.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Or has bad service because it's the meeting place. So it has to be a good experience for both the artists and the people. And I found that in Columbus for me, finding people that value artists and that provide a great experience for both the patrons, the audience, and the artists, it's something where we need to continue working on, right?
I agree.
I think the third thing is, and this is more of a local type deal, is every musician should continue in conversation with each other about each one of these venues and how is it that we can collaborate and work together to make more opportunities for meeting places.
Right.
Because one of the things I've often said is that I've often experienced rather, if the venue is not here, how is the artist that I can create it? There are parks all over Columbus. How, as an artist, can we create a day of the arts? You know what I mean? That
Right.
we can come out and, like, I've noticed musicians playing on Broadway.
Right.
If the venues aren't there, then how can we kind of start creating those spaces within our own network of friends? You know what I mean?
Right. Right. That's similar to what Kanari said in our first interview. Like things like festivals and just days where we could just be artists. You know what I'm saying? Where you can get exposed to what this community actually produces. You know, because I think a lot of people tend to. I'm not gonna say downplay, but I think that's a good way to put it, but just for lack of better terminology, they tend to downplay like the talent that we actually have here, you know.
Right.
And it's like we actually have some, especially up and
Some
coming, because I've been exposed to
very
so many
talented,
that are so talented
very
that
talented, very
literally
talented.
could make it and go the distance, you know. But a lot of
I've
times
told people this. I've said that Columbus has the talent. We've just missed the train a lot of time for the exposure. And I ain't talking about the exposure to come sing at an event, but it's like to the more global market. It's one of the reasons why I'm always reaching back whenever there's an opportunity to say, hey, I got the people. I just need you to come to Columbus and give them an opportunity. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry. I'll stop you where you're going.
You are telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? They had to make it worthwhile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to be worthwhile. So this will be my last question, and then I just want to talk to you a little bit.
Okay.
So my last question would be, as a multi-instrumentalist,
okay,
how important do you think it is to not make yourself small in such big situations? Because as musicians, we tend to kind of to make ourselves small in big situations. You know, you don't want to out sing the lead singer, or
Right.
you don't want to outplay your fellow musician, or you don't want to do
Right.
too much because you know you might
Right.
might overdo it, and now you can't. Or how important is it not to overdo it? You know, what advice would you give to somebody that actually wants to tour and really wants to do this, or even not even touring,
Okay.
just being in studio sessions, or
Yeah.
maybe they want to have their own band? You know, how important is it to not make yourself small in such a big environment?
Okay. I think there are two things. One is to get to know the person you're playing for. You know, if you're the one who's playing behind someone, uh, when I tell you, one of my classic conversation I have with church musicians, club musicians, just musicians, period. But if you're playing for church and you're playing for a preacher, know what the preacher likes to hear behind it. Don't play all your chords when he's not ready. You know what I mean? Know who you're playing for. When I'm playing with Brittany, know what her sound, know what she's looking for, and play to that strength. I don't think there's always making yourself small by doing that. I think it is making sure that we play our role and our part by doing what we do. I, can I sing? Yeah. Does this require me to sing like this to give her what she wants? The answer is no. Like, no, it doesn't require me to do 50 runs to get her the product she's looking for, right?
Right.
But knowing who she is, what she's looking for. I remember we were touring with the Alabama Shakes when we were doing that whole tour, and we did this one song called Gemini. And she's so like, this is what I want you to do. But when we get to the end, you do Lloyd. Man, I took advantage of every opportunity to do Lloyd.
Oh, yes,
But
you
during
did.
the rest of the
Oh,
sessions,
yes, you
it
did.
is, I have to play this role. You see what I'm saying? That's not making yourself small. It is doing your job. The second thing I will say is know the part, but know the possibilities. There's often opportunities when the artist that you're playing for go like, this seems whack. You can't be the guy going like, well, I don't know. What do we do? You have to be the guy who goes, or the girl who goes, well, here are the possibilities. Always be exploring the possibilities and know how it works for the artist or the preacher or the environment or the venue that you're playing.
That's
And
wonderful.
so I just kind of feel those are two main things. I don't think it's playing small to play your part, but in playing your part, always have your eye on the possibilities, because when you do live arrange, and my buddy Alonzo could probably elaborate a whole lot more on this, but there are moments where it's like when you're on a big stage and it calls for a particular intro, now's your time.
Right.
Now's your time. Here's the moment you're supposed to be thinking outside the box. But that time doesn't happen in the verses. You're not playing small by playing the verses. It's knowing when to play that part. So anyway.
Right. Because we talk about often, just so people know, Lloyd can probably out-sing everybody on that stage. That's just facts. You know what I'm saying?
Minus one. Minus one.
Minus
one.
You guys are different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When it comes down to riffing, you outdo everybody. Like, that's just facts. You know what I'm saying? It's factual. Everything. But anyway, when we speak, you know what I'm saying? Because we both know that my voice, I can go high if I want to. You ask me to hit a high note, I got you. But if you ask me to hit a tenor note, that is not my ministry. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know your own craft too, and your own voice, and what you're actually able to offer. Because if you do not, you will embarrass yourself. Like, be able to tell the artist, hey, that part probably is not for me. Maybe we should pass that on to somebody else. You know what I mean? Also, we also talk about the fact that you might be able to out-sing everybody, but everybody is not supposed to be a background vocalist, because it takes training to be a background vocalist and to sing with other people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes. So that's another fact that I just wanted to throw out there, because Lloyd is a beast by himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to BGVs, he knows how to blend. Like, he can give you what you need. Like, okay, I need to come back here. all right, cool. Let's do
Yeah.
this. Not only that,
Yeah.
but you also do well saying when you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure of that part. Like,
Whoa, you
hello.
on to something there.
Yeah.
And say that in I keep telling, like, you probably remember this from St. John days. The rehearsal is time for you to say it to me.
Yes.
Tell me I don't have it. Don't go, no, say I don't have it. I will stay here with you as long as we can to get it right. Because once again, the confidence that I have when I take the stage is because of what we've done off the stage. I'm
Exactly.
not taking the stage still trying to guess around and figure out, can I make it happen, or how can I just wing this gig? It's like, no, I need to know what I'm doing before I take this thing.
Before you take the stage. There are also
Yeah.
situations where you've been sick, or one of us has been sick, and we have to say
My
when we get on
gosh.
stage, hey, today I cannot do this. We have to
Yeah.
find out a
Yeah.
way to do this
Yeah.
before, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're
And
literally
that
on the
comes
spot.
from
Like,
knowing
we
your
have to do
band
that.
that you're on the stage with. You got to know your band, and y'all have to have that relationship so we can have that conversation. Hey, Shanay, I don't have this G in me tonight. I don't have it. What are some techniques that I can do to get there? Because you shared some with me. What do I need to be taking to get better real quick? Because I see you're not getting sick, but I am. You know what I mean? And so it's having that relationship to know, man, I got to depend on y'all to help me too.
Right. Exactly. You have to
So
depend on your band 100%.
yeah,
Like 100%.
yeah.
You have really dropped some jewels. I'm gonna have to do like a part 2 with Lloyd because he
Yeah, because I got so much to say. I got so much.
we haven't even really tapped in, you know, because for people that don't
Yeah.
know, Lloyd, I'm gonna toot your horn for a second. I know you hate this, but
Okay.
I'm gonna do it because it is what
Oh,
it is.
Lord.
But Lloyd is brilliant. Me and Lloyd have plenty of conversations where we'll get lost in the sauce for like 2 hours just talking about history and what it is to be a musician, and we talk about spiritual things and how to be a better person, you know. But one thing I do admire about you is you never stop working to be better. Whether it's being a better father, whether it's being a better person, whether it's being a better musician, whether it's understanding better, you never stop working to be better. And that's one thing I've always admired about you, because you've always done that. And that's one of the reasons why I follow you. Like, when you asked me to go on tour, I was like, sure. Not because I particularly wanted to, not because I wasn't scared, but I knew I was going with you. So I was like, I know he got me. So let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. And it's been a ride, but I wouldn't want to take it with anybody but you, because
thank you.
We have had some times and some great
ones.
Man, we've had some scary ones.
It's been some sketchy ones too. Now it's been some sketchy ones. Boy, it's been some sketchy ones. But I think that's the deal. I think
I have watched legends come up to Lloyd and give him applause. You know what I'm saying? And
it's been fun.
I heard you, and I just want to thank, because you talked about Gemini, but you didn't really tell people that Lloyd used to go in on this song. Like, that's one of my favorite songs to hear. At the end of that song, it was time. It was experience.
It was time to go.
It was an experience.
It was time to go. You know what, man?
Lloyd got to sing that song with Prince.
Oh man, yeah.
Person that got to be on stage, and we were so jealous. Like, we were like, "Dear Lloyd, like, who cares?" We on the sidelines, like, so what? But Prince told me I was beautiful, so I keep that forever. You know?
Hey, you keep that compliment. I don't want him to tell me that. You keep that compliment.
But you got to. He was the only person that got to be on stage when that happened, because that was one of Prince's favorite songs.
Yeah.
We got to have that experience, and of course they didn't allow phones there. So.
You know what, man? That was like crazy. No phones.
But you were the only person that got to be on stage, and I just remember that situation, and just like everybody being so impressed with it, and everybody being so impressed on how the layout just happened. And part of that was because Lloyd just knew what to do. He was like, you know what? When am I gonna get this time again?
Never. Unfortunately, I didn't know that would be it, but that was it, man. Like, man, we were somewhere, and Tom Jones said, "Would I play organ?" Jules Holland.
Oh yes,
Jules Holland.
We were at
Tom Jones was like, "Hey."
Europe, and Lloyd played behind Tom Jones, and he literally walked up to Lloyd, just snapping his little fingers, like, because they just asked Lloyd, could he add on to the keys that was already being played by the host of Jules Holland, who was also in that, who was very
amazing.
Very talented. But Lloyd came right behind him, and he played so well that Tom Jones just came up just a snapping, just right next to him, just singing like, oh, "Okay, what is you
man?"
Like, but that's the thing, like, and it ties into your point of taking your moment.
Always take your moment and do it. And you never know when those opportunities come. The whole point of working so well with the heavy led to the heavy's manager talking to the Alabama Shakes manager to say, this guy is the guy you need. And that led to the conversation of, well, Shanay is the girl that you need. And so we kept going. And so when Brittany comes back to the record, well, I want to take this. As always, take every opportunity to do your best. Doing your best is not always doing all of your fanciest runs. It is being solid on what you know and commanding the stage when you take it. Play your role, know the possibilities, but then pull back to support who you're playing for. So I think it's important to take advantage of every opportunity.
Yes, I'm very proud of you, and I want to thank you for coming on to Small Talk with Shanay today and being my guest for episode 4. Because I had spoken about you on my previous episodes, because
everybody kept wondering who the world is Lloyd.
Right, and they were wondering who is Lloyd. I had to introduce you, even if they didn't wonder. I was going to introduce you to the world, because I feel like everybody needs to know your name. Because sometimes you want to go, but everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came.
Glad you came.
So, where can people find Lloyd if they want to follow you?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram at I am Lloyd Buchanan. You can go on my website, LloydBuchanan.com. And that way, when the world opens back up again, everybody get vaccinated, please, so we can do this. We can start playing music, Very close up, bro. Not the close up. You know what I mean? So that we can start doing this whole live music thing again. In the meantime, I have been having a buttload, and I'm going to put a shameless plug here. I have been having a buttload fun leading our worship team at Revelation through this time. It's been crazy, but we figured it out, and we figured out every week how to really do music and do it well for our congregation, whether that's virtual world or whether that's, on the campus outside. And so if you're looking for me on a Sunday morning, you can find me there. Otherwise, follow me on LloydBuchanan.com or I am Lloyd Buchanan on Instagram.
Yes, or Lloyd Buchanan on Facebook.
On Facebook too.
Yes.
Now I cut the food on Facebook. I don't want everybody coming to my Facebook because I be cutting the food. I say something. No, let me stop.
And we're gonna look out for music from Lloyd, new projects that are coming out. And please follow his journey, all the videos that he currently has up. Let's get up all his views and all his likes, and all the videos of us following the artists that we do. Y'all get up those likes as well. Please go like and share the Music and Entertainment Council's page so that you can catch all of our other interviews and so that you can see us, because we will have Lloyd back again.
Do that, because we got to talk. We got a lot more to talk about the business side.
I plan on having a panel.
Okay, good.
Let me start like telling everybody what's going on. So I am planning on having a panel this summer with a lot of my friends coming on, in conjunction with MEC, of course, and us talking about what it is to be a musician and doing this for a living. Because I feel like a lot of artists feel like they can't do this for a living because so many people kind of tell people that this isn't
everybody told us
a
that
real job.
Everybody said that. Yeah. Everybody says that. And I had to look. I remember my dad even saying that. And I'm like, whoa, about getting it's a real job deal. Because once again, I got heard to say this, but it's the issue of where do we value entertainment? Like, it's because it's entertainment for us. We don't take it as serious for the person who's doing it as a job.
Right.
And so we tell them to get a real job that pays them, $9.50, $10.50, $15 an hour, not letting them know that the world of an engineer, if they were an audio engineer, they can make $25, $30, starting off in a smaller market. We don't treasure, we don't value the arts a lot of times because we understand it to be our entertainment. But we don't realize there's a whole industry that is funded for our entertainment.
Yep.
It is a business. It is a job.
It is a business.
So I really would like for other musicians not to just see the opportunity of a gig to be the end all of the business. There's so many other aspects of the business that we can explore beyond performing.
Beyond.
Yeah.
And that's
so
what makes
anyway, I'm done.
That's what we're trying to do, to be honest. Like, that's the reason why I have this platform. That's the reason why I'm going to use this platform, because I really feel like a lot of people need to know that there is a seat at the table.
Yeah.
100%. There is a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And every thing that you offer, I promise you, there is room.
There's room.
And there's so much room. There's more room than people let on, because that's another thing, just adding the tag. Another thing that I can't stand is when people act like it's more of a dog-eat-dog situation in the industry. When we in the places where they literally invite you in. Like, you literally, you can do it, guys. You really, really can.
You can. And the deal is you have to make those relationships where you can. You know what I mean? Sure, those people, those dog-eat people out there, they're at Amazon too. They're at IBM, they're at law firms too. Don't try to dog and say that the music industry is the only crazy. No. That happens because people are people. But this is a job, this is a business, this is an industry that I think people can really, really do. I talked to a church musician one day. So do you realize that your arrangements that you are writing here at the church for your church choir to sing every week can be put into choral music for high school students and college students to sing every week? We've never thought about it. We've just thought about showing up for church to play for the change of the offering and then go to the next gig and go to the next church. We've never thought about this opportunity. How do I make my music my 9 to 5? Because I promise you, if we make our music our 9 to 5, if you wake up and you start working on your music at 9 and you treat it like you would if you were going to work at AT&T and IBM, you would see this shift even in your creativity and your living, because it can become more lucrative the more we pour into investing in our own music.
Oh, for sure. Because then it becomes a 24/7.
It becomes that. It becomes like, and having the ability, because once I told you, I have to be intentional. So at some point I have to turn this off, but I have the ability to go, but I'm gonna pick that back up at 7:00 in the morning, and I can deal this. How can I pursue licensing for this song that I've done already? How can it's so much that we can do in the music industry that is just not playing a gig or trying to release a record. You know what I mean? There's so much more that we can do behind the scene.
It is 100%. And
I was laughing. I told somebody, I said David Foster's name is on everything, but the average American doesn't even know who he is. But Celine Dion's music is all over the place because David Foster's that great of an arranger. Amazing. So anyway, I'm gonna stop. I gotta stop because I'll keep talking
with it. You know what I'm saying? What you said. We both know I'm gonna be behind the scenes. I made my money back. But I'm very grateful for this conversation. Like I said, cool. I'm going to do a panel so that even people that I've had on before, like in my episode 2, I had Kennard, and my episode 3, of course, I had Mike Jarrell. But I kind of want to bring on all of these people just to talk about what it is to be an artist 24/7, because when you do things that you love, you forget that you're at work. And that is I know that's cliche and people say it all the time, but it's true. It's a very true statement. And I feel like everybody deserves to do what they love. No matter if you have a support system or not, you deserve to do what you love, and you deserve to do it freely, and you deserve to live in it and spend your time on it, and you deserve anything that you manifest, anything that you ask God for, it will come back to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't put in the work, it won't. And that's period. But
I often tell people that the story, when God gets ready to depart the Red Sea, He asked Moses, "What's in your hand?" And he lifts up, and it's a rod. And God told him to stretch out the rod. So, could God have parted the Red Sea without the rod? Yeah, but He wants Moses to use what he has. And so, for all of us who are praying and asking God um, for this in our careers to move, the question then God turns around is, "What's in your hand? What are you doing? What do you possess?" And so, yeah, I'll pray for God to open up doors. Yeah, but what am I doing? Like the saying, the proverb that says, when you pray, move your feet. There's something that we have to do. And so as musicians, we got to know our craft. We got to know the possibilities. We got to network. We got to do all that type of stuff so that when those doors open, we're ready. That's all.
And that's the key. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Get ready.
Okay.
Get started. All right, I'm done.
Announcements. I will be starting an IG live.
I'm gonna play some soft music.
In a couple of, oh my goodness, Lord, like what's wrong with this man? I'm gonna start an IG live in a couple of weeks. That it would be on Wednesdays. I will announce it on my Facebook page. This particular live would be mainly me just talking about a lot of things that are happening in the industry. I'm also going to be launching my podcast in May. Woo!
Do it.
And I will be giving more information. What? I will be giving more information about that as well. Be looking out for that. But I'm very excited, and I'm going to just be adding on to my platform. So please follow me on Facebook as well, so that you can get all of this knowledge and all of this good information. And follow me on IG at LovelySCBJ, so that you can follow my progress. Also follow Lloyd on Facebook at Lloyd Buchanan, LLOYD BUCHANAN. Follow him on IG at I am Lloyd Buchanan. Please support his website, www.lloydbuchanan.com. We want to get up all of the views on all of everything that he has posted, and he will be posting more.
Oh yeah, I will. We're working on it. We actually are working on it. No joke.
Yes, we are.
No joke.
So he's going to post more people, and you heard it here first. This is an exclusive. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna look out for his project, because I know he's working very diligently on that, and we're excited for that. And I'm just excited to have you on this platform. I've been wanting to have you on, so I'm glad that you took time to share the virtual stage with me. Again, I am very proud of you. I'm proud to be your friend, and I'm proud to share the stage with you as much as I have, but I'm going to tell you, I give you your flowers often, but to just give you your flowers in front of everybody, I'm very proud of you and everything that you've achieved. And is there anything that you would like to leave the people with?
No, I'm thankful that everybody is tuned in. I just want to say, some of those names of venues that I gave, like Sambuca and all those venues no longer exist. They unfortunately, because of the economics, it just didn't happen. And so everybody, when you have the opportunity to go and support venues that support the local artists, do take a chance to do that, because it's the meeting ground for us, for other networking too. So I thank everybody for listening. I realize we talked long tonight, but I thank you for listening and hanging out with us.
Yes. I'd also like to thank Z, who is the founder of
the
Entertainment Council.
Yeah.
I'd like to really thank her. I also want to thank Kennard Thomas, who is serving as my executive producer during this show and making sure that I am on point. You know what I'm saying? Cool. He keeps me in check. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'd also like to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for commenting. I can't wait to go through the comments. Please tell us who else you would like to see, anything that you would like to ask Lloyd. Don't be shy to put it in the comments. I'm sure that he'll go back and look himself, and we'll see what you guys want to know about him and what we can ask him the next time that he joins us on this platform.
Okay.
But as for now, please join us in 2 weeks, where we will have another special guest coming on. Remember that I will be going live on Facebook in conjunction with the Music and Entertainment Council every other Monday at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys for
I can't
joining.
do
Don't
it.
forget to, that's my dance. You know what
I
I'm saying?
I can't do it. I told y'all I can't dance, but okay.
Don't forget to join us. Don't forget to share and like the Music and Entertainment Council's page. We are working on the Small Talk with Shanay page, and that'll be up soon as well. But please, please, please like the Music and Entertainment Council's page, and please give us all the support you can. Also, if you would like to join the Music and Entertainment Council, please reach out to Z and DM her, and you never know what you could contribute to the cause. We're hoping to launch this summer, but please reach out, please join us and join our meetings and give us your input. We would love to hear it. And for now, thank you again, Lloyd Drink. That's what I call him, guys. He knows that.
Lloyd Drink. All right.
That's our thing. But thanks, guys. We hope to see you in 2 weeks. See you
All right,
later.
we'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.